Some example findings after 5 waves of the National Income Dynamics Study, based on the NIDS Wave 5 working papers available at www.nids.uct.ac.za. The National Income Dynamics Study, NIDS, has been interviewing the same 28,000 people and those they live with at the time since 2008. To improve on the quality of the dataset, in the last interview round in 2017, additional participants at the upper end of the income distribution were added to those that will be followed by NIDS over time. In so doing, NIDS remains a unique source of data on the continuing life stories of all types of South Africans. Following the last round of interviews, researchers were invited to use this freely available dataset to show some useful conclusions that can be drawn from NIDS. What follows are a few brief examples of what has been discovered with the 5 waves of the NIDS data. When studying educational prospects for young children, on average, children who recover from stunting between 2 and 4 or 5 years of age still go on to complete fewer years of schooling compared to their non-stunted counterparts. This seems to be driven in large part by a slower progression through the schooling system once they are enrolled. However, there appear to be varied effects depending on the extent of recovery from stunting. For example, children who recover such that their height falls within the normal range for their age show similar educational outcomes to those who were not stunted. Taking a look at economic activity prospects for youth, non-matriculants are more likely to not be in any kind of education, employment or training, NEET, for longer periods of time compared to those who completed secondary school. 19% of non-matriculants are in a NEET state persistently over the 10-year period, compared to only 7% of matriculants. And being in this state has its consequences at the individual and societal level. Being in a NEET state persistently is associated with higher rates of depression, lower levels of self-reported happiness in 2017 relative to 2008, and greater reliance on grant income compared to other sources of income in the household. Turning to employment prospects, over the period from 2008 to 2017, there was a substantial amount of volatility in the likelihood of finding or losing employment. Those who were in volatile employment, as opposed to stable employment or persistent unemployment, made up 27% of prime-aged adults. This group includes Africans, women, people who have lower levels of education, and in particular, the youth. And finally, some social class dynamics. Taking into account the likelihood of moving into or out of poverty, the share of South Africans who could be considered as stably middle class or elite was 24% on average between 2008 and 2017. The transient poor and the vulnerable constitute 27% of South Africa's population. Interestingly, these two groups who straddle the poverty line are similar in terms of their average household characteristics. The chronic poor, who have a below-average probability of exiting poverty, make up 49% of South Africans. Households which are resilient to poverty, the middle class and elite, have household heads who are formally employed with a permanent work contract and union coverage. This all raises the following important questions. How best can we reduce the prevalence of stunting amongst young children? What policy interventions will help youth who do not successfully complete secondary education? How do we increase employment levels without increasing employment volatility? And how can we address structural barriers for upward mobility of the vulnerable and transient poor into the middle class? This video was drawn from the National Income Dynamics Study, which is an initiative of the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation. The study has been following the lives of 28,000 South Africans since 2008, and in so doing has been collecting a huge amount of data every 2 years. It's designed to help facilitate the development of better policy informed by better research. It's available and it's free. Find us at www.nids.uct.ac.za. The National Income Dynamics Study, telling the stories of the people of South Africa.